Okay, let's get the frame out and get working to it. Top or bottom, top, middle. I'm going to leave battery strap in there. We're going to pull these out, camera mounts, take all the arms out. This is really packaged for $50. I mean, this is packaged so nicely with all these accessories behind it. It's really nice. Alright, so we'll seal that up for now. Put that aside and get working on this. Yeah, this is nice. It does come with absolutely, positively no instructions. Alright? Nothing. Nothing in the box. Nothing anywhere, so this is a free-for-all. So we'll give it a shot. See how we get it together. Okay, first off, you want to start with this frame by taking the smaller M3s. So you'll need that and this. Putting them right there like that. And the tall mounts go in the back. Just screw them in. Do not tighten them. Just snug for right now. So the taller ones are going to go in the back. And you can tell the back. Here's the front of it. Here's the back of it right here. Alright. Now the middle plate, as you can see, it can go this way, which doesn't fit because it doesn't fit the curvature of the frame. Turn it like this. Everything will line up and the curvature fits perfectly. Alright. So you want to make sure that that's aligned just like that. So the tall standoffs in the back, then put this frame on next. Okay, actually this frame does not go on after it. The arms go on. And if you can see how they're pointed out on the right hand side on each of them, okay, these will set in place first. And what I like to do is put one arm on at a time, and then this plate will go on top, just like that. Alright, that's what we're going to do. And the next set of standoffs are going to be the smaller ones. You have 4 left. Alright, they're going to go 1, 2, and then 3, 4 right here. So those are going to be your standoffs right there. Alright, so they are going to fit in. Let me get that in view so you can see it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They'll go in through the bottom of the plate, up through the arms, and then this will fit with the curvature of that to go on top like that. Alright, it's a true axe, not a dead cat. Okay, so you're going to take, there is longer screws that they do give you. You don't want to use these for this part. You want to use the medium screws that come with it. Alright, and it's going to go through this hole right here. So you have 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to go through this back one right here, medium screw, and that's where your arms go, right there. So this will slide in here, like this, come up through the bottom. It's a lot easier to do this off camera, so you can fight with it and nobody can see it, but you can move this out of the way, kind of screw this in first. Once you get the first 2 arms in though, it's a lot easier because everything tends to line up a lot better. So even if you have to move this out of your way for a minute to get this in here. And there we go. Back that out a little. so it lays flush. This on here. Back into here. And then there you go. And then the standoff right here. I'm gonna screw in. Once again, don't tighten these up because it's gonna be a real pain in the ass. You want these still to move a little so they'll lock into place when we get everything together. Alright, now let's go on to the next two. So this will slide into here. Line this up from the back side right here. Let me try to zoom in a little so you can see it a little better. Move the camera up. Wow, I jacked that all up. This is a really nice tool to have because it just kind of catches on it. And you can see that goes right through there. Alright, so we got 3 of them in. Alright, last one going in now. Remember, it's a medium screw on this. And it's going to go in this hole right here. It's the furthest one out. And the little bump right here is where it's going to go in at. Alright, there we go. And then there's all 4 right here. Okay. So now we got them all 4 lined up. Those are the hardest ones. And if you can see through it, there you go. You can see through them. You know that they're all lined up right there. So those are the medium screws right here. Alright. Alright, now it's time to put these lock nuts down on it so everything stays in place. So just kind of look down on the frame. Make sure everything lines up before we put these in. Okay, something that I just noticed, which is a lot better. You want to use the medium screws on these outside lock nuts because they come flush. If not, it won't reach it. So after you put the lock nuts on top here, on the outside, right here, the easiest way to get these in, you can kind of try to like push them in a little, but if you have one of these little crimpers, you just need to get on the top of it right there and just give it a little push, and they will hold enough to get in there. You might have to go back a couple of times, but eventually they'll sit in there flush like that. Alright, those are good, lined up. So, once again, use the medium screws, alright, for the standoffs. Medium screws will go on the standoffs, which I probably should have thought of ahead of time, but you know. This probably doesn't have enough torque to get all the way through it. These are good for smaller, quick screws that go in. Not that great for stuff with a lot more tension on it. Don't worry about these flopping around. They'll eventually get where they need to go. Yeah, and I would start with the outside standoffs on this, just so you have something to hold it in place while you line everything else up. So once again, medium screw, standoff right here. Alright. Alright, and then the smaller one, there's only three different links there. So this one is going to go where that lock nut is right here. And you'll see in a second how it is flush against it, just like this one is flush. That's what you want. You don't want them protruding out of the frame, all right, because it's just going to cut your motor wires coming across. So you want to make sure that's the right size screw when you put it in. And it's really important you get these snug down before you start screwing this in. These little lock nuts on the top, you'll hear them snap in, and make sure you have this in between, because if you don't and you try to do it, you're gonna snap the carbon fiber. So make sure that the arm is inserted first, then go on it and just give it a good snug pull down, and it'll line up just fine. Okay, so like I said, this goes on the outside one. This is the middle screw size on this. And you'll feel it catch when it gets to the other end right there. And if you did it right, that top piece won't pop out on you. Just like that. And all these should be flush. That's how you know you put the right screw in. They'll all be flush. And for the standoffs, line these up, and the standoffs will just be right here. And it's the longer screw on the standoffs. That thing's about dead. And you'll know if this is going in, if you have it lined up or not. Two things, you can see it. And second thing, it just won't move. Just like that. And it's just this tiniest nudge that'll get it to go in correctly too. That was the difference right there, just that little nudge. Help it line up correctly so we can get the standoff on. And you can see it's got that room, enough thread right there to screw this standoff on. Just like that. Alright, let's get this last one on. Okay, we have all four standoffs on now. Here's the front right here. There's a camera mount. Alright. With the tall standoffs in the back. The four shorter ones up front. As you can see, the outside get the lock nuts. Alright. With the medium screws in the inside. No lock nut with the smaller screws. Alright, and now you can see for the flight controller, there's 4 more lock nuts that'll help hold the frame together. Right now, there's really no tension in these at all that I can feel. So that's a pretty tight, and I'm kind of surprised about that because usually there's a centerpiece in there and there's not. So That's really tight. So let's get these lock nuts in. Once again, you just really want to kind of set them in here like this, and then clamp them down. It takes a second, but you'll hear them snap in. Alright, let's get these in. Okay, now that we have these 4 in for the flight controller, alright, the Flycolor is really nice because it comes with, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it comes with the screws already mounted in it and the gummies in between it with really good spacing in it already. So all you want to do while holding this together, just unscrew the flight controller screws that are already in here. Hopefully the gummy, don't pull these out either because you'll rip the gummies. Set those aside for a second. These should come out pretty easily. I know I'm kind of cheating with this thing because it's actually a real pain in the ass if you don't have this. There's that one. There's the top. But if you just kind of hold it together while you're doing this, especially on this flight controller, it comes out pretty easily. Don't pull this, just let it go. Okay. Now that we have this like this, gummies are still all intact inside of there. Plenty of space in between there for nothing to touch. Make sure you line up the arrow, which is right here. Hopefully you can see that arrow right there. You want to line it up towards the front of the drone where the camera is going to go. Also, on this drone it's really nice because the VTX and the camera are all in front, so you won't have to wire it all the way to the back. Once you have those 4 out, you're going to screw these in the bottom. This thing's about dead, but we might make it. No, we're not gonna make it. These are gonna be a little tougher because this is obviously the 3rd screw that goes in here, and make sure those rivets don't pop out, which they're not, so that's good. That means you put them in correctly. Alright, so there's one right there. Okay, there's one in there. That looks like it's sitting really low. So I actually want to just put this on here real quick and see how that's gonna sit. I hate putting everything together and then figuring out. Yeah, as you can see right there, with the addition of that nut down there that we put in, it's not tall enough. So these flight controller screws are not going to work on this. Alright, so even better, just take these out of the flight controller. And we're going to use longer ones because we need to compensate for these nuts right here. And unfortunately, these are not going to do it. So let's find some longer ones and see what size we need. Okay, I fortunately have a bunch of backup of everything. These are the ones that I have, and this is compared to what it was sent with. Okay, so we're gonna put these on instead. They actually could be a little shorter, but it's fine because we're gonna put a gummy in there and kind of move it up a little. So, not gonna use these. We're gonna use these instead. What do you think? This will work? Think this will screw it in? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, come on, buddy. I do want to show you at the top of this. You want to make sure, obviously, it doesn't go past the standoff. Actually, to the standoff at all. That's perfect. Got some clearance room there on the standoff and the screw. This is going to sit down nicely on it. So let's get all these in and we'll come back. Okay, now that we have all four of the standoffs on, we can put the flight controller on. Make sure, double check, because this is a pain in the ass if you do this wrong. The arrow is pointing towards the front of this frame where the camera is going to go. Alright, so this piece is going to go on first. I'm not going to mess this up. I'm going to leave this right here for now. These little gummy things fell off, so I'm just going to put those on with it. Gummy, gummy. More round gummy crap. Alright, now double check, make sure, all good. You can fix this in Betaflight if you jack it up, but just don't jack it up. Okay, so we got good spacing in between all of those. Alright, enough for a battery strap. If we want to mount it that way, got a little extra room on top. Alright, got a little flex in it. Alright, not much. So that's good. Everything's pointed in the correct direction, which is even better. That's a huge pain in the ass if it's not. We're going to plug this back in. And I think I'm going to call it quits for the night. Alright, so now we have this all mounted. I'm not going to put any of these caps, these nuts on yet, because when we solder on the wires for the motors, I actually like to take this off so we don't get any solder on this at all. This is a really good looking board too. So we're not going to do any of that yet. We're just going to wait. But this is a good stopping point right now. As you can see, I only have 3 of these. Here's the 4th one. There we go. We'll put those in there for now, so I don't lose them for the 100th time. Okay, so that looks good so far. So next up, we're going to go to motors and then actually see how this is going to look on it. I'm not 100% sold on these yet, but that actually looks pretty cool there. Even if I could drag it a little further on there to cover up those rivets there. Because these rivets, believe it or not, over time they just kind of wear on the motor wire and cut the wire. So it would be nice to maybe cover it there. That's a narrow alley coming out of here to wire those, but I don't know. We'll see how it looks. Alright,